Okay, Johnny, this one's got your number on it. Let's jam.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cinemajam. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the full month of March, where we discuss 4 amazing realistic warfare movies. We're going to go at the end and we will rank them and we will try to get you to watch them because these 4 movies were worth watching and we really enjoy it. As always, I'm Sebastian Gomez from Austin, Texas, and
Pablo Velez from Montreal, Canada. And just to remind our viewers, the ranking that the genre actually, that we're reviewing during the month of March is about movies that Sebastian and we found that were very realistic in how they depict warfare or war, and also gives us views not just from the sides that are confronting, that are actually like battling, but also the impact that it has on people, civil, and also the normalcy of war from some sides. And that's the entire intent, to see the different phases of war with this genre.
yeah, the most dark secrets and the most open nightmares of war in 1 month.
Correct.
And we had some nightmares around it, I think. As always, we want to remind our listeners and viewers in YouTube and listeners in the podcast platform of choice that please subscribe, like, review the podcast. That helps us a lot. This will be our last episode that we'll be doing the ranking free. If you want to keep listening to the ranking, we're going to start posting them in our Patreon. So please go to www.patreon.com/cinemajam, where you can see exclusive content that we're going to be posting there. We're going to start doing this more commonly, but we will still do our main episode on Friday and our versus episode on Wednesdays. So please still keep subscribing to the channel. Okay, Paulo. So I think in the end, as we mentioned, this was a hard month. We saw great movies from great directors. I think we agree that also great performances. I mean, all over the place. We're going to go a little bit deep on each movie when we present it, but I want you to give me your general experience of the month of March, where we talk about realistic warfare.
I think it was a fantastic month for watching and analyzing and talking about movies. You actually suggested some movies that I hadn't seen before, like All Quiet on the Western Front, and there was the movie, the Russian one, Come and See. That was
I wasn't aware of that one, and I was surprised.
Exactly. So it was amazing. It was an incredible experience, and I really want to go over the ranking with our viewers. So we just go straight into it.
Okay, yes. So we're gonna first talk about each movie one by one, and at the end we'll do our proposed ranking, and we'll start discussing which ones are going to go on top of each other. So on the first week of March, we saw The Zone of Interest. This is a German movie that was actually nominated and won an Oscar as a foreign film, directed by Jonathan Glazer. This is a director that jumped into fame because doing very unique kind of horror movies like Under the Skin and Bird and another gangster movie like Sexy Beast. But I didn't expect to find a movie like this one, because when we were discussing in the main episode is that these are basically 2 movies together, right? There is one in the background that if you hear it with a good sound system or headphones, you can hear in the background that a lot of bad things are happening. And then the one that you see, that is this family living next to one of the biggest concentration camps of the Nazis I think it's in Poland or very close to Poland. Yeah, and where basically these families living the idyllic life. Great performances by Sandra Hüller, especially, and Christian Friedel, where basically they're living their lives like nothing is happening. He's the main, I guess, administrator of the concentration camp. Sandra Hüller is his wife, and they're living like nothing is happening next to them, completely normal lives, and it's just disturbing. to
It's
see
really
them act
terrifying.
like
It's
that.
really terrifying. And I think that movie has one of the best endings I've seen in a movie in a long time. There's a sequence towards the end where it brings you to the present, and they showcase that, the building where he was working for the SS became a museum for the Holocaust, and then goes back to 1944 or whatever that the year was. It's a fantastic sequence. The editing, the profoundness, like how deep that goes is fantastic.
It's
Fantastic.
fantastic. It's completely marvelous. The next movie, Pablo.
The next one was also a very good movie that I think both Sebastian and I had seen before, but we hadn't seen again in a long time. It's Full Metal Jacket from the grand, amazing director Stanley Kubrick. This is a movie that came out in 1987. It was stars Matthew Modine, Harley Ermy as the most amazing and realistic drill instructor sergeant that you can ever find.
Well, he was a real life drill instructor, so you
Exactly.
can
That's
tell.
why that's why you cannot go wrong.
But
Then
he's also a very good actor, so
yes,
that
yes,
was
yes,
like the
yes.
surprise there.
Yeah, and amazing performances, I guess, from all the different supporting cast, especially from Vincent D'Onofrio, who we have found is one of the most reliable and solid secondary actors that you can find. The movie is set in the Vietnam War, so from the movies that we saw in this cycle, this is the only one that wasn't a world war, but at the same time, it emphasizes the dehumanization of the recruits as they go through the process of becoming Marines, and then how that it reflects in the battlefield. Because the movie is actually it's two parts. The movie has two parts. Part one is the whole process of training, basic training in the Marines camp in the U.S., and then the second part of the movie is when they're actually in Vietnam and they face combat during the Tet Offensive. So I thought it was a fantastic movie. It's Stanley Kubrick at his best. It's extremely, it's a movie that you can tell that he thought about it like in detail, very calculated, a bit cold sometimes because it was like so perfect. And we all know what a perfectionist Stanley Kubrick was. But what do you think, Sebas? How did you find the movie?
No, I agree. I agree. That's the humanizing process where basically they're taking a little bit away of his humanity, making them perfect killing machines at the beginning, those 45 minutes, and how some people cannot cope with it. And that's the case of Vincent D'Onofrio in this movie is incredible. Full Metal Jacket is still one great war movie. But yeah, you can feel that there is a lot of calculation there. I mean, I'm not going to deny Son of Interest, of course, as well. But it's funny because there was a lot of calculation, but the actors are improvising all the time. So in this case, you can tell that they are forced to do
They are not.
whatever is standing, except
Arlie Ermy,
Harley.
who apparently went on his own during his rants and his insults, and Stanley Kubrick just like took one or two takes and like got
Let
it.
him run. Yeah. Let him run his mouth. Do whatever you want to. That's great.
Exactly. Sebas, what's the next movie that we saw?
So the third movie that we saw is All Quiet on the Western Front. This is the movie by Edward Berger, another director that I'm surprised that I like so much. I wasn't expected to like this movie as much, and he has another movie that I like a lot, Conclave. But in this movie, we see how we don't see that process where they brainwash them, but we already see the kid in this movie. This movie is stars Felix Kaminer as Paul Baumer. Basically, we see that how they are in the school, brainwash their head so that they can basically be happy to be part of the machine that is the war. And it has one of the most cold openings. I mean, that cold opening, those first 10 minutes are perfect match to the Zone of Interest, right? Because
It's like one has the perfect ending, the other one has the perfect opening.
I know I was so surprised, and they match. And this is World War One. This is nothing to do with World War Two, basically. But you can see, that machinery, that perfectionism of the German war machine, where basically they're recycling and reusing all the uniforms of all the dead soldiers. These uniforms basically can maybe have been worn 2 or 3 times by a dead soldier, and they give it to this guy, and he's so happy, he's eager to go to the war. And then we see slowly how the war is turning him apart, because he's in one of the toughest parts of the world. The Western Front was a no man's land, basically. I was actually in a war museum here in Texas yesterday, and they have like a trench exhibition, and you were supposed to see like how the no man's land was looked from the trench, and I was, chills down my body, because basically, obviously, not as in the exhibition is not as cool as what you see in the movie, but you can still feel like, okay, this is somewhere where you don't want to be, and especially because they were, as we talk about it, they were winning a little bit, a few meters, and then the next day the French will take it, and it will go like that for months and years, and this
Exactly.
takes a toll in this guy, in this Paul character. What do you want to talk about in this movie?
No, I agree with everything. So, maybe just to emphasize that this is a movie that really highlights the futility of war, like the nonsense of war. Exactly, like they were fighting for this few meters back and forth, and a lot of people die, and then at the end, like the sequence, the last moment in the movie where the general doesn't want to, stop attacking until the last hour, and then you see like people like dying just within minutes, like our lead character. So it's a really it's a devastating movie
Yeah,
for
one
the
of the
last.
saddest ending. Yeah,
It's a
it
really really
was.
sad ending.
Yeah, this movie I want to mention. It was nominated for 4 Oscars and only won the music. And we talk about the music in this one. That basically, what was the term? That great music, very German style music. It was great. The score was composed by Volker Belterman, and it was a great music in that movie. In this, okay, and the last movie that we saw last Friday.
Well, the last one was a bit of a psychological roller coaster, I want to say. It's the 1985 Soviet movie Come and See. It's a movie from a Soviet director, Elem Klimov,
His last movie.
and his last movie, and also co-written by him and someone named Ales Adamovich, who apparently was a soldier he based his novel on the testimonies of people that survived in Belarusia. This is during the Second World War, during the occupation of that part of the Soviet Union by the Germans, and is from the perspective of the population, like the people in the villages that face that harsh occupation.
Belarus is next to Poland, so basically they were the next target of the Nazi
Exactly,
invasion.
exactly, exactly. And the movie is starred by especially Alexei Kravchenko in the leading role of Fiora Gaishun, starts off as a kid living in a farm in this small village somewhere in Belarus, and then he's recruited by the resistance, by the partisans, and then he goes through so many situations in his less than a year actually.
In the thing about the last movie, well, the
Mhm.
previous movie, is that I think he's 17, something like that. In this one, he's 13, maybe 14. I'm not really sure.
Exactly,
But
exactly, something like that,
yeah,
like early teens, and by the end of the movie, he looks like he's 60, and it's like one of the most impressive like transformations, like physical transformations that are not meant to be a transformation like an obvious one, like a werewolf changing or something. This is like you just like see his mental and physical breakdown. His hair turns white. He gets like these huge wrinkles under his eyes, and at the end, he looks again like someone way older than a 13-year-old boy. And is also a movie that depicts the obviously from the Soviet perspective, all the horrors that the Nazis inflicted on them. So it doesn't spare anything. It's a tough movie to watch, but one where the performances are amazing, especially from Alexei Kravchenko.
Yeah, in this movie, they mention, I think the Nazis basically burn and kill 629 villages all over the country, and we only see two, and we only see like one after the fact, and then we see the process from beginning to end of another one, and it was devastating. It was like one of the most stressful things that I have ever seen in the film. And that's the thing about these four movies, is that they are cinematic, they are incredibly well shot, but they don't spare you of the dark things that happen in war. And that's what I enjoyed of the movie. I mean, I enjoyed the cinematic fact of the movie. I cannot really say that I enjoyed the movies.
No. I mean, the topics are very difficult. They're not meant to be something that you enjoy, but it's really like the style in the movies. Like one thing says that I was surprised is how different the styles were. Because the only American movie is Full Metal Jacket. And even though it's a Stanley Kubrick who has his own very personal style and methodical and a perfectionist, the movie is a Hollywood movie. Like from the editing, the soundtrack, the pace, it closes with Paint Up Black from the Rolling Stones. Like it's a movie that is an American movie, even though it wasn't like it didn't do well when it came out in
The
the
box
box
office.
office. Exactly. But then you have two European movies, All Quiet on the Western Front, like two movies that are based on Germany, but one done by a German director, the other one done by an English director, if I'm not mistaken.
Jonathan Glazer is English.
Exactly. So they're also, even though European movies are also very different. The one from the director of The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer, is a movie that is a bit closer to the way an American movie might be because of the quality of the editing and also the emphasis on the soundtrack, not on the soundtrack, but what we were saying, describing before, Sebas, that sonic layer that you're constantly hearing in the background that is driving you insane, but it's all like very well produced, and especially the editing, like the long shots. It's all like from different perspectives. It feels like almost like we talked about it, like one of those early German expressionists.
Expressionist, yeah. Expressionist films, yeah.
Yeah, like the scenes that you see from the cabinet of Dr. Caligari, where everything is from like weird angles, is something that he thought about like very, very in a very methodical Stanley Kubrick-like way, but completely different styles.
Actually, yeah, after after the two movies, I did thought that we didn't get to talk about it during the podcast, but I actually felt that the one that is closer to that style of Kubrick is Jonathan Glazer. You can tell the four of them had a lot of, they really knew what they wanted in the movie. I actually read that Helen Klimov, what is it? No, Helen Klimov usually uses in some parts live rounds, so
Yeah,
that
I read that
they
too.
will break apart some of the, that they could feel that they were shooting real lives bullets. So it was like crazy. But you can tell that, Jonathan Glazer was the more calculated one of doing that shot in the Zone of Interest. And they won an Oscar for that, the sound. They won the Oscar for the sound and and Best International Picture. So yeah, you can tell that everyone agrees that the sound is just another layer. Yeah.
So, and on the other extreme, on the other side, we have two other movies that also have very different styles. One German, the other one Soviet Russian, for which we don't have a lot of things to compare to.
Yeah,
But
not many references. Yeah.
exactly. But when we think about the movie, the All Quiet on the Western Front, that is one movie where the realistic aspect of war, like being on the trenches, seeing people getting shot, like the mud mixed with blood, and it's a very dirty movie, like dirty, like nasty is completely like the opposite, even though Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket also shows the battles at the end is completely different. It's more
Yeah,
detached. This one is
I
there, like you're there with the soldier, with Paul.
yeah, they are still, they still have makeup when they show them after a combat in Stanley Kubrick. But in All Quiet in the Western Front and Alexei his character is Fiora, or the actor Alexei Kravchenko. They get really dirty. They're always in the
Yes.
mud. They're always in the floor. They get covered in blood. They get covered in. We talk about the fight in All the Quiet in the Western Front. That fight in the hole of in the crater of
Mm-hmm.
that bomb
Mm-hmm.
is one of the most realistic fights I have ever seen, because they are so scared of each other.
Exactly, and it's also like a fight that you can feel that must have happened many thousands of times, if not hundreds of thousands of times during that war, because it was a close combat. That's the way
And they are
trench war was about.
fighting, yeah, and they only fighting because they don't want to die. It's
Exactly,
not for
exactly,
any great cause, or I'm gonna save my country. They just don't
exactly,
want to fight. They are
exactly.
alone there right now. Nobody's giving them orders. They just don't want to be killed by the other guy.
Exactly. So, I mean, from that perspective, though, like those two movies are very similar. But then again, one has that German approach that is also, a little like Jonathan Glazer's, like very calculated, very methodical. Like, is an extremely raw movie, All Quiet on the Western Front, but is very well edited. You can tell the quality behind it. Common Sea feels like a documentary sometimes. Feels because the camera. I don't know if you read about it, Sebas. They use a mounted cam. Like it follows the people as they run, as they flee, like the soldiers.
I didn't knew it, but it felt like that. Yeah.
It felt like a documentary. Like if you were watching, like, I don't know, the Blair Witch or something. Like, just you're always on constantly like moving, and the few scenes where there's like some stillness, like where people are still, are when you're seeing, like, massacres and stuff, which is like horrible. So I wouldn't. I see Come and See more like a documentary than actually like a movie, to be honest, which makes it even more powerful.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we definitely have to talk about the ranking. I mean, I
Let's
will
do it.
actually give it to Come and See first. I don't know if you agree with me, but I will.
100%.
Yeah, Come and See should be first. I think there is a denying that. From there, it's gonna be a little bit harder. If in my personal view, I will give it Come and See, The Zone of Interest. Might be convinced to do All Quiet on the Western Front, to be honest. But for now, Come and See, The Zone of Interest, All Quiet on the Western Front, and Full Metal Jacket as the fourth one. What do you think?
I think I agree with that. You said
You think?
so. You said Come and See, Zone of Interest, All Quiet on the Western Front, Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, because
I agree.
yeah,
I had the same ranking in my head.
yeah. If we're talking about that, both of them actually feel like documentaries. The Son of Interest also feels like a documentary because it's basically showing the lab. Well, I think in one of the reviews they say it's Big Brother for German family during the Holocaust, basically. Well, not any German family, the German Germany, the German family controlling the concentration camp. So
Mm-hmm.
is that documentary, no? And he uses hidden cameras in the house and all that. So it's basically also kind of like a documentary. And the other two are basically movies, very well done movies about warfare. So
Mm-hmm.
if we're going for, which ones are more realistic, I think we can definitely say that order
Yeah.
is closer to to what you expect a real war will be, basically.
Plus, I mean, if we talk just about the fact that these are movies where you have actors acting, Alexei Kravchenko had the best performance of the four movies that we saw. And that is not to, demerit the acting, for example, from Christian Friedel as the head of the concentration camp, Rudolf Hoss, nor his wife, Sandra Huller, who played Hedwig Hoss, his wife. Like a little breakdown, Sebas. In terms of the actors and the acting, I think the best actor was definitely Alexei Kravchenko from Come and See. But the best actress, we didn't have many women in these movies. We only see the wife of the Sandra Hüller, who's amazing. She's extraordinary. And also
And Glasha.
Glasha, exactly. Olga Mironova from Come and See. But
yeah. Well, normally we do those questions at the end. So let's start with that. So
okay,
definitely we
let's do it.
agree that, best actor, definitely we will give it to Alexei Kravchenko. Best actress, I agree, Sandra Huller. Glasha is pretty good.
Yeah, she's good.
There was something hypnotic when you were saying that someone said that it was kind of like a lucid dream, or what was it, like magical realism at
Magical
sometimes of the
realism.
movie.
So yeah, I don't know who was it. Maybe it was Roger Ebert. Like a critic said that it was a magical realism movie. But
Inside of the world.
yeah,
But
inside of
she is the one that makes that,
yes. But
only
but
hair.
but the problem though, Celas, is that she's only in the movie at the beginning for a few scenes when they're alone in the forest, which is a really amazing, like well done sequence with the trees and the water. That's really cool. But then I think we lose track of her, right? Because the woman that we see at the
Yeah,
end, it wasn't her, right? It was another
it
woman
wasn't
from the
hair.
village.
I actually had to go into Reddit and IMDb, and I was able to confirm that it's another girl with a different actress and all that. Looks very
Yeah,
similar to her, but no, it's not her.
yeah. Because I mean, in the All Quiet on the Western Front, I don't think there were any women besides some French farmers that we see at some point.
From far away, right? Yeah.
Yeah, from far away. And then in Full Metal Jacket, it's just the
The
prostitutes.
Vietnamese prostitutes.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't really count.
That, I have to be honest, they look the same. They were in
Well,
different cities and they look the same. Like, oh god, oh boy.
yeah. So, anyways, I think from an acting perspective, we explained then the reasons for the two movies. Then, what is the next question that we usually do? The
Biggest
director?
surprise.
Biggest surprise. The biggest surprise for me was Come and See. I wasn't really sure what to expect about that movie. I'd never seen a movie from the Soviet Union before. No, actually, I saw one called VIY, with my brother. A horrible movie about vampires. I really hated it. I don't know why he forced me to watch that. But this is the first movie that I was really like waiting, like wanting to see. I had it in my list. I just didn't have the courage to watch it because I knew it was going to be tough. So this for me was the biggest discovery.
Yeah, for me as well. I didn't expect to be so moved by this movie, especially because it's a communist country, a lot of censorship, all that goes behind this type of movie, and seeing I mean, obviously, it's a propaganda machine against the Germans. I'm not going to deny it, but it still moved me because it was so dark, so true to what happens in the wars that people normally don't see. That I was amazed how well it was done. I was also pleasantly surprised by, I was surprised how much a sound can make a movie. And that's the zone of interest.
Yep.
There
Agree.
was something different of having a good sound, pay attention to the sound. Sometimes you forget, sometimes, because of the keys, you're watching a movie in subtitles, but when in this case I was conscious that I needed to listen it with headphones, and oh boy, it's a whole new level discovered.
Yeah.
Okay, what you didn't get?
I think maybe I didn't quite get what was the message from Stanley Kubrick in Full Metal Jacket. I think I know what it was. It was the duality of war, and I think it was way too obvious, with Matthew Modine's character, Private Joker, being in the field in battle with the peace pin on his jacket.
And Born to Kill in the helmet.
It felt like too obvious, like too simple, like too I don't know. It felt like for someone like Kubrick, you would expect him to do something more elaborate. And I didn't see that. And I remember watching this movie many, many, many years ago and really liking, especially liking the first part, the training scenes, and obviously Donofrio's performance was amazing. I don't know. This is the one movie that I felt in all the other ones. Jonathan Glazer with The Zone of Interest, Thor Berger with All Quiet on the Western Front, and especially Klimnov with Come and See. All the directors had a message. Like it was very deep and complex, and I didn't see that with Stanley Kubrick. I don't know. What do you think, Sebas?
What I didn't get, I think in All Quiet on the Western Front, we talk about a little bit about the bureaucrats and the guys doing the negotiation and this general that didn't, or I think it wasn't a general, he was even higher.
Marshall, Field
The
Marshall.
marshal, yeah, he didn't want to give his control. He didn't want to go into peace, and he wanted to. So in the end, I didn't get that. I think I was hoping to learn more about them. That side of the. I mean, we get some ideas, but it still felt a little bit like mixed in other things that were happening with the soldiers, and sometimes I wish I was more focused. So I didn't think that at that time, but when I saw Come and See that we were only focused on the kid, like, okay, that was distracting me a little bit because it took you out of the real pain of the movie and show you this part that wasn't as interesting. And especially these guys weren't acting like real people sometimes. Maybe the only one was the one that we like, Daniel Brühl, as Matthias Exelberger, but the other one, nobody else acted like a real human. So, so in the end, it was like after watching Come and See that it made me realize that those scenes weren't as well put together as the rest of the movie. So it made me kind of like, okay, I don't get what he was trying to say with that. Maybe he was trying to say something about, I don't know, but it was more effective in the first 10 minutes, the machine of war, that these guys don't see the blood in their hands, so they don't get it. So, but we already got that message from the first 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's
So
a good point. It's a good point.
The other question that we have is, do you have I mean, you don't need to have to, but do you have a biggest disappointment?
Biggest disappointment. I actually enjoy them all. Maybe is
Michael Modine.
Thank you. I was gonna say the whole movie, like that I felt that I had a better souvenir. I remember the movie better. Like I remember
Full Metal
liking
Jacket.
Full Metal
Yeah.
Jacket more than I did this time. But now I remember, yes, Matthew Modine. I mean, I don't have anything against him necessarily with other movies, and I'm trying to think what other movies he has done besides this one.
I think he did. Isn't he in Beverly? No, he's not in Beverly, but Beverly Hills Cop right now.
No, he wasn't there. But I mean, he's like one of those actors from the 80s that you tend to remember, like, with some fondness. But there was,
Not really.
yeah, no, I mean, he was not cast well in this movie. He felt out of place. He tried to be funny, I guess, but it came flat. I don't know. That was my biggest disappointment. Thanks, Elas, for reminding me. We talked about it in the other episode.
I do want to say that, another surprise, and I didn't say it when I asked the question, but man, Vincent D'Onofrio is so good everywhere he goes, man. I just want to leave it there. Like, one of the questions that I skipped was actually, best supporting character. I guess I have to give it to Vincent D'Onofrio. Do you have anyone else like a supporting character?
That's a tough one because it depends on what you define as supporting characters. I mean, sorry.
I mean, the Cossack in Come and
Exactly.
See only sparely used.
But not only him, even the head of the partisans, Bess was also very good, and even the Germans were also good. Like the two, like the one that at the end kind of like tried to deny his responsibility. The actor is Victor Lorenz as the Sturmbannführer Lorenz, and then the other guy, the more real Nazi guy, like Juri Lumiste as the sergeant, I guess, or the lieutenant. The performance that they give under that bridge when they're kind of like where they're about to be, executed by the party,
they're gonna execute them,
is extraordinary, and they are supporting characters. So, but I do agree that Vincent D'Onofrio had such a standout performance in Full Metal Jacket that's why the first part of the movie is so good. So I agree, he's the best one.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, I think we can. Well, another one is like, I think, best music or best cinematography. There is a standout that you wanna.
Well, I mean, if we put the sound aside, like the whole different movie that we talked about in the Zone of Interest, when it comes soundtrack, I think All Quiet on the Western Front has a really cool soundtrack. It's very industrial, very very pulsating. Like there's this constant beat and this weird, keyboards playing whenever there's like like a battle or a potential battle happening. That was a very well used soundtrack, and I really really enjoyed it. I mean, again, not counting the second movie that we had with the Zone of Interest. If you just listen to the background, what's happening in the background. Come and See doesn't have a soundtrack. I mean, it only has like a few pieces now and then. That's why it feels like a documentary. So I wouldn't make that as a standout. And Full Metal Jacket is full of really cool songs. We already talked about the Rolling Stones, for example. So I don't know. I would give it to All Quiet on the Western Front.
Okay. Yeah, the music there in particular is pretty incredible, and I think the cinematography as well. I mean, it was very well done, very close to Earth, very close to the actor. So I think it was great. No, yeah, okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this talk. As we mentioned, this is gonna be part of our Patreon. So. But so if you want to follow up with the next times with these ones, please follow us there. Until next time, keep dreaming about movies.
Until next one.